Hey everybody, hope the mic is working. Um, so this is going to be a really quick activity. It's going to be pretty straightforward compared to, especially after what we did in class. So again, if you read this first paragraph, it's really going to cover what we talked about in class. Make sure you pay attention to the student alert, and it's basically reminding you that we're no longer talking about price and quantity when we do aggregate demand and aggregate supply. We're talking about price level and real GDP. Okay, so let me zoom in a little bit and see if that works a little better. Okay, so turn the page. Again, it starts off by explaining how the following effects lead to a decrease in real GDP. So if you don't remember, you can go directly back to the lecture. But basically, the interest rate effect, how does each of the following effects lead to a decrease in real GDP when the price level rises? So the interest rate effect is that at higher prices, banks need to increase their interest rates, right, to make sure that they're getting a real return on their investment. And when that happens, borrowing goes down, which means consumer spending goes down, investment goes down, and GDP goes down. For the wealth effect, what here we're really talking about purchasing power, right? At a higher price level, when things are more expensive, it just the value, what you get for your money, decreases. And at lower price levels, your dollars go a lot further. So that's pretty straightforward. And the net export effect is that when the price level in your country is higher, people in other countries stop buying your goods, so exports go down, and your own people begin purchasing more goods that are relatively cheaper in other countries. So imports go up, which causes GDP to go down. So that's pretty straightforward. Then basically it shows you how aggregate demand can shift, and there's going to be a chart in which you are supposed to explain what happens. So let's go to that chart. So again, we've done this type of activity before when we were just learning basic demand. And what they want you to do is they want you to describe which component of aggregate demand is affected by the scenario. Is it C? Is it I? Is it G? Or is it NX? Which direction is it going to change? Is it an increase or a decrease? And it asks you for the resulting curve. So is it AD1 or AD2, or does it stay the same, right? Because they could throw a scenario at you where it doesn't change. So very quickly, consumers respond to high levels of debt by reducing their purchases of durable goods. So you might see that, after the recession, when people's homes were underwater, they had a lot of debt. So this is going to be a consumption part of aggregate demand. It's going to be a decrease in aggregate demand, and it's going to move to AD2. Okay. Reduced business confidence leads to a reduction of investment spending. Pretty straightforward. It's investment. It's a decrease in investment because of business confidence, and it's AD2. Government spending increases with no increase in taxes. That's important. So this is G. It's an increase, and it moves from AD to AD1. Survey shows consumer confidence jumps, which means consumption is going to increase. If they have more confidence in their future income, the future economy, they're going to begin consuming more. It's going to be AD1, pretty straightforward. The stock market collapses and investors lose billions. So I know that stocks in and of themselves do not represent a change in GDP. However, when investors lose billions, you are talking about definitely a component of aggregate demand. Future income, future wealth is badly shaken, so consumer confidence is going to be badly shaken. So consumption, you know, you could really make an argument for consumption and investment is going to decrease, and so we're going to see 82. Productivity rises for a fourth year. Here's the tricky one, okay? This is no change because this does not affect consumption, investment, government spending, or net exports. It's going to be a change in aggregate supply. And we will talk about that later. So, no change, and it just stays at aggregate demand. New tariffs on imported goods lead to a trade war that reduces exports by more than it reduces imports. So this is going to be the net X, and it's going to be net exports is going to be negative 82. Pretty straightforward. I don't think you guys should have had any problem with that. And last but not least, for 3.1, it is important to read this section. Basically what it goes through is it explains how the investment demand curve works, right? So for each, remember I showed you the consumption function in class? Well, there's an investment demand curve as well. And it basically tells you that when firms are deciding whether to invest, they're going to be making a marginal benefit versus marginal cost decision. And a lot of that decision is going to have to do with interest rates. For example, if interest rates are at a certain level to the point where what they're going to have to pay back for the borrowing to make the investment is not going to make them money, then they won't choose to invest. At the same rate, even if they were using their own money, if they could make more money by simply putting it in the bank and loaning it out to other people by earning interest on those loans more than they would make in the investment, they're not going to make that decision as well. Okay, so because of that, and this is actually kind of important. For the investment graph itself, the nominal interest rate is on the x-axis, and the quantity of investment is going to be on the this is the y, this is x, right? And so it asks you to illustrate the relationship between interest rates and the amount of investment. Investment demand, right? It just looks like that, just like a normal demand curve. But it's interesting to sort of think about what this actually means. It means that when interest rates are low, you're going to have businesses investing more. And again, just think about things that you've listened to on the news, things that we've listened to in class. Interest rates have been so low because we've been in this recession, and because the banks want to stimulate this investment. They want people investing in their own businesses, expanding, creating jobs, and that's what investment does. So, good thing to know. All right, last question. What factors could cause a firm to invest more or less at any given level of an interest rate? So what they're basically saying is what could cause the investment demand curve to actually shift this way to 2, or maybe this way to 1. I might let you think about that for a little bit. What other thing besides an interest rate would encourage somebody to invest? Let's save that for class. And let's just let you think about that. Okay. All right. We will talk about that in class, and good luck.